Captain's Log, stardate 99432.66. It's time once again to add to the pantheon and contribute to Book Track 2021. Its 5-month mission to inspire BookTube to read more Star Trek novels. In its 3rd month, many booktubers have been reading Deep Space Nine novels. I am one of those. Sort of. I read a Section 31 novel written by David Mack, subtitled Control, following Julian Bashir, the Doctor, who in this novel is disgraced in a way because he helped the Andorians with their reproduction because they weren't able to reproduce. They were having a sort of children of men moment on their planet, and this caused some problems, but it was all an undercover thing to make it look like he was an agent willing to participate in the actions of Section 31, which is this underground group in the Federation that does all the dirty work for the Federation, so that the Federation can claim that it is about peace and long life and as a benevolent sort of institution. This story is almost 2 decades after the events of the Dominion War. So Julian Bashir is no longer on Deep Space Nine, and he's sort of off on his own, in his own little war against Section 31. This is a sequel to another novel, I believe also written by David Mack, that I have not read. I only read this one because I found it in the library here, and I thought, how rare to find a Star Trek novel. So that's why I got this one. Overall, it is pretty good. I did enjoy it. It is about Julian Bashir learning and trying to take down this centuries-old program, which is called Uraei. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it is named after an Egyptian myth where 2 asps that encircled the Eye of Ra and spat flames like venom to defend the sun god against his enemies. Okay, I don't know what any of that means, but it is a super intelligent artificial intelligence that is sentient and listens in on everyone, watches everyone, collects tremendous amounts of data and information on everyone in the Federation. And in this novel, we see 2 different timelines. We see the growth of Uraei, this program, which becomes the backbone of all Federation infrastructure, technological infrastructure, medical, agricultural, I suppose, space travel, anything you can imagine, communications. It is the backbone of everything. It is insidious and far-reaching. Of course, the person who developed this seemed to think that it would be for good, and then as things continued on, sort of, as the Federation starts growing and becoming more of a reality, I suppose, and we start to see people like Admiral Archer and T'Pau from Star Trek Enterprise mentioned in that timeline. On the other side, we see Julian Bashir teaming up with Data to try to take this down because it goes against everything that the Federation supposedly stands for, and they go all over the place. They go even to Ilum Garak, who is a Cardassian, for advice, protection of some sort, and Ilum Garak poses the question about maybe it's best to leave it for the good of the Federation to survive in a way, because of his mindset for how the Cardassian Empire used to work before the events of the Dominion War, where everything was scorched down and razed. And it is quite an interesting story, sort of very relevant to people these days with technology that listens in and watches in on everything you do and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, it is very thrilling. There is a really cool chapter pretty late in the book, I think chapter 33, right? Yeah, chapter 33, that is written all in code, and this is, I believe, the last chapter we get of the past. And it is Uraei, I hope I'm saying it right, I really don't know. Uraei programming itself and trying to figure out what to do about a certain character that's become a problem and an escalated threat for it. And you get to see it eliminate the target, so to speak. And I just think that is really cool, the way it's written in, the whole chapter is written in code. And it's still pretty easy to follow. So yeah, overall I really enjoy it. There's a few things I don't like. I'm okay that I thought this was just going to be a Deep Space Nine thing. I have no idea, actually. I've never watched Deep Space Nine except a few episodes. So I barely had any grounding for who this guy is. Or Elam Garrick, or Section 31. Is that in the Next Generation? I don't know as well, maybe. I haven't seen every single episode, or if they are in TNG, I don't remember that episode. I'm assuming they're a thing in Deep Space Nine, or is it completely made up for the books? I don't know. But that's okay. I thought that was pretty well developed. My main issue with the book is that there are definitely some things when it comes to Data's history, or even Julian Bashir and Elam Garrick, or the Dominion War and these kind of things. It does sort of assume, or Jonathan Archer and T-Pow, why would they be name dropped, except if you have working, is it Jonathan Archer? Yeah, Admiral Archer at the time in this book. Unless you are very familiar with these parts of the franchise, which I am not. I only know the original series and half of the Next Generation. Unless you're very familiar with these, I don't know anything about the Dominion War. I don't know anything about this character. I know about Data, but I've never really watched. It's been 20 years since I've seen any of the Next Generation movies, so I don't really know anything about the Borg Queen or Shinzon, I think is his name, and some of the things that have happened. So in a sense, it does not work by itself. It does require you to know some things about Star Trek, which is fine. I mean, it's a Star Trek novel in a way. Like, you're probably only going to buy this if you already like Star Trek. And yeah, so it's really not such a big deal. I'm a bit of a beginner to Star Trek, if you will. Anyway, that's all I've got to say. Live long and prosper. Thank you.